Here we are, a few days after Christmas, as we approach the end of another year. I don't know about you, but I'm tired, and it's a pretty normal thing to be tired after Christmas with all of the excitement and preparations, even when we aren't gathering. But it's also a time of being tired for a year of pandemic. And I have to admit that I have had grumpy days, like Jim did in the Time for All Ages. And the best meant intentions of family and friends wanting me to be happy and cheerful have been met with results similar to the friends of Jim. The words of Jeff Foster resonate with me. Trust the heart that it will open when it's ready. Many times, I'm not even sure what I'm feeling when people identify me as being grumpy, or I think I'm feeling something like grumpy. It's possible to be something like grumpy and be totally alone in the quiet. I regularly go to that inner still place to be able to listen to my inner voice and hear the whispers of my own truth. Just being still, I am more comfortable being with whatever I'm feeling. More often than not, my grumpiness or what feels like the shadows of sadness are a manifestation of being tired. And just going to that quiet place when I'm just ready to lash out and I'm going like, oh, I'm feeling so angry. Oh, I'm just tired. And suddenly I feel a little better, maybe not 100%, but when I recognize the difference between tired and grumpy, it makes me a little less grumpy. But of course, others can't hear the whispers of my inner voice. The late Celtic poet and priest John O'Donohue wrote this about beauty and the importance of our inner whispers. Somewhere in every heart, there is a discerning voice. The voice distrusts the status quo. It sounds out the falsity. It advises distance and opens up a new perspective through which the concealed meaning of a situation might emerge. This voice is an inner whisper not obvious or known to others outside. Yet much of it depends on that small voice. The truth of its whispers mark the line between honor and egoism, kindness and chaos. In extreme situations which have been emptied of all shelter and tenderness, that small voice whispers from somewhere beyond and encourages the heart to hold out for dignity, respect, beauty, and love. That whisper brings forgotten nobility into an arena where violence has told lies about everything. That inner voice that he describes can only be accessed when we sit in quiet stillness and listen deeply to ourselves. It is this inner voice that helps me not raise my voice at loved ones, as Jim did in the Time for All Ages. I see Jim's friend Norman as the inner whisper reminding Jim that even though it hurts right now, better feelings will return. Norman also embodies the importance of acknowledging our authentic feelings instead of trying to deny or cover them. Acknowledging and naming our authentic feelings marks the beginning of better mental health. There are many different practices to quiet our minds and move forward into inner peace. Spiritual teacher Eckhart Tolle introduces stillness this way. Whenever there is some silence around you, listen to it. That means just notice it. Pay attention to it. Listening to silence awakens the dimension of stillness within you, because it is only through stillness that you can become aware of silence. In that moment of silence, of noticing the silence around you, you are not thinking. You are aware, but not thinking. When you become aware of silence, immediately there is that state of inner still alertness. You are present. You have stepped out of thousands of years of collective human conditioning. Look at a tree, a flower, a plant. Let your awareness rest on it. How still they are. How deeply rooted in being. Allow nature to teach you stillness. The last 10 months of social distancing and isolation give the illusion of stillness. The message of Leah's music is as relevant today, maybe even more relevant than it was 10 months ago. There is no roadmap for these times. And if you want to ease your mind, you got to look inside. Her song is grounded in the work of Carl Jung, who wrote, your visions will become clear only when you look into your own heart. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakes. In a sermon last August, I spoke to the essential practice of carving out 15 minutes every day to disconnect from everything at least once a day. I'll have to admit, I've not been successful in doing that every day. Now and then, and it does help. I hope I won't ask for a show of hands of who's carved out 15 minutes every day. But I want to encourage you to do that because it's still very important. We even need to consider putting up a sign that says no vacancy during those 15 minutes to remind ourselves and those people around us that that is sacred time just for us. And if you don't meditate, consider just sitting quietly and relaxing. Also, a mindless, repetitive motion that doesn't require conscious thought is helpful. Sitting and moving gently to music can relax the body. I know these are things that you all enjoy, sitting to music and swaying in time. Another option is to sit somewhere and watch natural motion like the leaves blowing with the wind or drifting clouds overhead. This practice is still relevant and important. Last week, I found a poem by the Irish poet and theologian Padraig O'Tama. The title is How to Belong, Be Alone, and the word belong is crossed out. So the poem is How to Be Alone. It's from a series of poems that he wrote exploring how to belong during times of pandemic. In an interview, he reflected on these poems. He said, "What will help us find belonging? Damned if I know, but I do know some things, so perhaps damned I am. So here it is. It is a good thing to find the time to be alone and be alone. It is a good thing, when alone, to listen and to learn and to act. Being alone helps us be together, and being together with all of its justices, changes, demands, recalibrations, and celebrations, is what will save us. This morning, I share his poem, which was written 2 months ago, How to Be Alone. Listen. It all begins with knowing nothing lasts forever. So you might as well start packing now. In the meantime, practice being alive. There will be a party where you'll feel like nobody's paying you attention. And there will be a party where attention's all you get. What you need to remember is to talk to yourself between these parties. And again, there will be a day, a decade, where you won't fit in with your body, even though you're in the only body you're in. You need to control your habit of forgetting to breathe. Remember when you were younger and you practiced kissing on your arm? You were onto something then. Sometimes harm knows its own healing. Comfort knows its own intelligence. Kindness, too, it needs no reason. There is a you telling you another story of you. Listen to her. Where do you feel anxiety in your body? The chest, the fist, the dream before waking, the head that feels like it's at the top of the swing or the clutch of gut, like falling and falling and falling and falling. It knows something. You're dying. Try to stay alive. For now, touch yourself. I'm serious. Touch yourself. Take your hand and place your hand somewhere on your body and listen to the community of madness you are. You are such an interesting conversation. You belong here. As we approach the beginning of a new year, may each of you make the time to spend some time every day in stillness, listening to your inner whispers. There is a you telling you another story of you. Listen. You are such an interesting conversation. You belong here. Amen, and blessed be. When I take the time to appreciate stillness and listening to myself, and also during this time of the year, I'm more able to feel gratitude. And so